Welcome back to the Nickel and Dime Football Show. It's your boy Suds. We got the man Drew behind the wheels of steel. We are getting into this week 5 action, and I'm wearing black because it was a funeral for the Bucks defense. And we got some big games coming up for you here in this next slate of games. We will talk about it all. We got three and out. We have matchups, locks, Suds' shout outs. Who stepped up this week? We don't know, but we're going to shout out the people who did. Listen, like and subscribe. Make sure you get us in that algorithm because we want to get the info to you, the people. Lock it in, baby. It's nickel and dime.
Shawn, I don't even know. Like, I feel like the chaos that you feel around week 15,
Right.
week 16, it's already here.
It is. Who's winning, who's losing, who could have won, who should have won, all the questions.
Everybody's beating everybody. There's
Yeah,
no there's no winless teams. There's one undefeated team. Like
one.
it's only week 5.
Yeah, yeah. And Drew, looking at the matchups, there you're right. But there's a logjam of teams that are. I mean, it's still early. It's week 5, but like at least 1 and 3. But you still like feel like those teams are in the hunt, a la the Las Vegas Raiders. And then there's a
Getting
bunch
their
of teams
win.
at
First win,
at two.
baby.
Yeah, they did at 2 and 2, and then even 2 and 1. So a lot to be left on the plate there for us.
And we've already had some ties, and they always come into play.
Yes, yeah, they do.
All right, let's get into our week 4 recap. Started it off on a weird Thursday, man. Like, I hated that the Tua situation was what it was because that
Right.
man, A, should not have been out there, and
Nope.
B, look at that, got hurt again. Um,
Yes,
and it just overshadowed a pretty good game. And
it
I hate
did.
that, but we do have to shine attention on this because this can't happen. Like, he can't be out there for
Drew, I think, and we will just chime in on this just like everybody else has because he shouldn't have been out there. I mean, but everybody could see it. Everybody could see it. Like we knew it wasn't a back when we saw him limp and fall to the ground after he tried to get up. We knew it wasn't a back injury.
right.
So
Back and
everybody was
ankle.
surprised when it came back as that, and it just goes to show that he shouldn't have been out there because the sack that he got sacked on wasn't that big of a sack. Like
It
his
did
like
not
his
look rough.
his head just hit the ground, and clearly it was still injured from the time before. So it just exacerbated the whole thing. And hopefully we can get to it back, but it did take some time, Drew.
Well, it's like those boxers you see that get knocked out one bad time. It's so
Yep.
easier to knock them out the next time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that just it's brutal, man. But the Bengals get a win over the Dolphins, get back into the thick of things in the AFC.
Yeah, yeah. Are the Bengals ready to roll? I mean, just a question that we have to ask. They need to fix the run game, Drew, but they look markedly better against a Miami team. To a situation aside, because Teddy Bridgewater didn't shit the bed, for lack of a better term. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to say, taking all of that out, they were still formidable. Are the Bengals ready to take it to the next level, Drew? What you think?
I think they are. I think their defense is showing up like more like they did last year that kind of helped carry them into the
Yes.
playoffs when Burrow was getting sacked left and right. Uh, and I think it really showed that he didn't have a preseason with that.
Yeah.
The what was it, his appendix? Is that what he had taken out? He had one of those
Yeah,
things.
it was one of those things. Yeah, that I think it was the appendix. Yeah, you're right because
Yeah.
I think we talked about it and I said tonsils with the ice cream, but no, it was the
Yeah.
appendix. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Because I
but
feel
no,
like
man.
he's starting to get that chemistry now. You know.
Yes, and honestly, take extrapolate that out to the rest of the league too, with the logjam we just talked about. In the intro, maybe this is because these teams haven't. They're really getting into that rhythm now in week 5, not having a preseason. Is it? I would have to look back and look, but I wonder. if the data shows and what we've seen thus far, if the teams whose offenses did play in the preseason are actually doing better offensively.
That's fair and true because I mean, look at the ones that we know for a fact didn't play in the preseason. Aaron Rodgers struggling.
Struggle,
Kyler Murray struggling.
struggle. Buccaneers offense struggle.
Mac Jones didn't know what he was doing with the Patriots before he got hurt. Struggle.
Yeah, they
So,
that what's going on there? They should have been. They should
and
have
look
been.
who played. Players like Jared Goff. You know, even the Lions are still figuring out that offense looks pretty good.
Yep. And
Scored
they have
45
been.
points. Like their
They have
defense just
been.
let the other team score more.
Yeah, and we and we gonna talk about that game for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Vikings escape the Saints in London. Shawn, the Vikings are now 3-1, man. Are they got a path to the playoffs if they keep going like this?
Drew, not only do they have a path, but they're in the driver's seat. I mean,
Oh.
there's really no other way to look at it. Minnesota pulled one out. Great London game. It was a great London game.
Yeah, and the
We
fans were
don't,
into it, man. Like, I
yeah,
loved it.
well, because the game was so good, and we don't really get that. Usually, it's a one team, one sided affair over in London, but Minnesota pulled it out. Kirk Cousins wasn't in prime time, so he did great. Did better,
Early games.
early games. Believe me, exactly how Kirk Cousins feel about prime time is exactly how I feel about the Bucks in prime time,
That's
and we'll
fair.
talk about
That's
that
fair.
later. Drew, we have to ask, bro. Are the Saints done already? Are they done?
I mean, they're in the NFC, so no, but yes. That team looks just disheveled. Like you start to think like was Shaw their coach the glue holding them together? Because not much personnel
Yeah.
changed. Just he
Yep.
left, and then they got some injuries.
And this looks like it's
Landry looks
sinking the
rough.
ship. Yeah.
Yeah, like Callaway looked pretty good, but
Yeah, he was a slight bright spot. Andy Dalton, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he
he's at the end of his career. It is what it is.
and but the question has to be asked though, like with Jameis being as turnover as he is it just better for them to have a floor with Dalton without the turnovers?
I say they put Taysom Hill back in
Oh
there,
God.
but I'm just playing. But you can definitely tell they're missing those weapons. Kamara's not there.
Yeah.
Thomas, that offense, they're looking at these secondary players. You know, they're stepping up and they're playing
Yeah.
well. Like Olave's showing out. You know, he's had
Yeah,
67
he
yards
stepped up.
and
Yeah.
a touchdown. Murray had 57 yards and a touchdown. Where has that been? You
Murray looks like the best back in that backfield right now because
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara was on a downward trend, and Mark Ingram is looking like we might have been a year or two late on Mark Ingram at this
Yeah.
point. You know what I'm
I can
saying?
see why
So,
Baltimore was like, "Ooh."
yeah, Latavius Murray looks like he might be the best back. Oh, and we would be remiss if we did not mention this before we move on, but Justin Jefferson hooked Marshawn Lattimore. Okay. He
And
cooked Marshawn Lattimore.
I got all the points from him, but from no one else. So Shawn is killing me in fantasy football this week.
That I am. That I am.
Mark Andrews didn't show up. None of my Jacksonville players showed up. Like it was a rough week for me.
Yeah, yeah. It just, I mean, just a quick.
And your players just played great. You're putting up 150 points this week.
Man, well, my roster finally like did what it was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit above the floor. But I feel like just talking quickly about our fantasy matchup, I felt like I had the edge only because your marquee players, Christian Kirk and Robinson, were going up against that Philly defense.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish you could have seen me when they were shining though. Shawn, Cowboys 3-1 get a win over Washington. Cooper Rush for MVP, huh? Is that what we're saying here?
And another Sunday, another Cooper Rush win, dog. Like, I mean, another Sunday with 100+ rating too in that offense. Like, this is, and I wish
is playing great too.
I think the defense is what led them to a win. So Cooper Rush getting help by that defense, that Dallas, they really won this game. I guess my question to you is, do they need to be this balanced in order to have the kind of success and to get them where they need to go, or can one side really take over?
They got to be balanced because this Cowboys defense played great last year, but for some weird reason, no one was giving them that same respect. Everyone was saying they're going to drop off this year. Diggs'
Mm-hmm.
hit is either interception or
Feast or famine.
200 yards. So,
Yep.
but these guys are locking it up. Micah Parsons is looking like that defensive player of the year that we said he was going to be at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And this defense is looking fantastic. They're still not running the ball. That's the thing that concerns me. Is
Yeah.
rush is looking great.
Mm-hmm.
They're still
But
not running the ball. They're
there might
so they're balanced on defense and offense, but not on
right.
offense.
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to put it actually. And I think, the more tape is out there, the more teams going to come into that week and be like, all right, we know Cooper
Just
Rush
drop them
can beat
back.
us, but y'all gonna have. I mean, we're gonna make Cooper Rush beat us
Yep.
because we know you need a running game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it has to be. They got to figure out something there.
Was
I
it
mean,
cool to
just
see
talk.
It was good to see Gallup back in. That was good
Yeah, yeah,
for
that was good
Dallas.
for him. Yeah, that was good for him, and
And a
he'll probably
touchdown.
get more integrated into the
Yeah.
system after his injury. But I mean, talking about Washington, Drew, at this pace, should Wentz make it through 17 games if this is what you're gonna get from him?
Anarchy. 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 No, actually, they signed Sam Howell. I would love to see Sam Howell get a chance. I don't want him to be put in a bad situation like the
Yeah.
Steelers are doing, which we'll get to in a second.
Mm,
I don't. So I'm excited about the future in
right.
Washington, but I mean, we all know it's over for Wentz. It's over for him. It just is what it
Yeah.
is. He went 25 for 42, 170 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, 2 sacks.
Yeah. Yeah. I need more.
Yeah,
I need more. I need the offensive line to be better. I don't
that's what I'm
think
saying.
they.
Don't put the rookie in with a bad offensive line.
Yeah, yeah, but I just don't know where Washington is going to go from here because they don't look like a team. Aside from the receivers, like I've got nothing. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
gonna
Like
rebuild. They're gonna have to rebuild.
they're gonna have
Unfortunately,
to.
Riverboat's gonna have to go, and they're just gonna have to. This is one of those rare. They need to completely blow it up. Ownership needs to go too.
Yeah,
So that'll
and they
be
got some pieces. They got some foundational pieces on that team.
yeah. Geno Smith pretty efficient in the win over the Lions, 48-45. Sean, can Seattle hold their own in this NFC?
Drew, at this point, I cannot count Seattle out. And they might be the underdog in a lot of their games, but
Probably
there's no
every game they
way.
play.
I might be staying away from choosing locks
Oh
in
yeah,
Seattle. Talking about it, we both
bit us both this
did us
week.
both. Yeah, it did, man. But Gino had a day. Gino had a day,
Uh,
and it wasn't that Jared Goff didn't have a day.
they
You
both
know what
had a
I'm
day.
saying? They both did. Defenses though, ugh. I
Yeah.
mean, it
We had
just
our first serious penny sighting.
yeah.
151 yards on 17 carries and 2 touchdowns. As long being 41 yards.
Apparently, he had a day like this last year against the Detroit
Oh, he just loves
Lions.
playing Detroit.
He
I'm
just
gonna have to
loves
remember that
playing.
for those matchups.
Yeah, so he goes off against them if you have him in your fantasy lineups.
Yeah.
But it was the defensive collapse on both sides. I don't know what they need to do, but I'm more talk about being a parent. I'm more disappointed
So
in
disappointing.
in Detroit's
Yeah.
defense, man, because Seattle should have had to put up this many points with how Detroit's offense was looking, even without DeAndre Swift. Jamal Williams easily capable of taking on that workload.
Yeah.
But I wanted more from Detroit's defense, and I just didn't get it. I know, even as a rookie, I know what I'm getting from Aiden Hutchinson. But they've got a lot of talent, and it just I don't know if it was just Pete Carroll and the scheme that took it out. I don't know what it is, Drew. Maybe you could speak on
I
it.
just say a team struggling to get wins doesn't need to lose when they put up 45 points. That's just too tough.
Yeah,
That's not only a loss, that's an emotional loss
yeah, yeah,
on
and
both
and
sides. Because now the offense is being like, well, we did our job. They put up 22 points in the fourth quarter.
how hard is that to do anyway? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's very hard to do, and it was weird because it just kept coming back on red zone. It just kept coming back. It just kept
Yeah.
coming back. Like they kept bringing that game back. So shout to the Detroit Lions, man.
Yeah. Titans win the division battle over the Colts. Shawn, was this a bad call on the Colts bringing in Matty Ice? You
You
think he's
hate to
gonna
say
figure
it.
it out?
No,
You
I
think he's gonna
mean
figure it out? Because he's
that's
got
the
good numbers. He's just turning the ball
it
over.
was Drew. It was too little, too late for what he tried to do. I mean, Mo Alley Cox didn't. They finally figured out that he can be a
Is
weapon.
bigger than everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all Michael Pittman. They gotta figure out a way to get Jonathan Taylor more involved. Like that rushing game is night and day compared to what it was last year.
Apparently, he's been dealing with some nagging injuries too. So the word
Well,
is Taylor's not 100% as well.
Naheem Hines is a more than capable back. He can't do what Jonathan Taylor does, but he
But he
can get
can
you some
be.
production.
But they're not even using him where he's best at, and that's in the passing game.
Yeah.
Like we were
So
like there was a couple games last year where Wentz didn't do much, but he got Hines 100 yards receiving here and there.
yeah, and he can do that. I mean, for the Tennessee side, I still like Tennessee's definitely trending in the right direction. Derrick Henry continues that upward trend. But I to answer your question from earlier, no, I think you've seen what Matty Ryan can do if they just get started earlier. That's what I think they have to do. Like they've got to go to their bread and butter earlier, get everybody in a rhythm, and kind of figure it out from there because they're waiting too late, and they're not the only team, Bucks, who have been doing that in games and just is coming. You're pushing all your chips into the table when it's like a minute left to the clock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't look now, man, but the NFC East is winning games. We talked about the Cowboys being 3-1 earlier. The Eagles stay undefeated, beat the Jaguars. That was a great game. And then the
Yeah.
Giants are now 3-1. Take care of Fields and the Bears. Look at the NFC East winning.
Yeah, and I mean, kudos to them because we thought it was just going to be a train wreck. It might have been Dallas and Philadelphia show, and it's still too early for me on the
Oh yeah.
Giants though.
Oh, no
It's
doubt.
still too early,
They
but
just win games.
their
They
record
played some bad teams.
says
They
their
played some bad.
record says that they're a good team, and they might be a beneficiary of circumstance, but you know, shout to them for getting the record that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have.
But this Eagles Jags game was fantastic, man. They traded blows. I was happy. I knew they were going to lose, but I was happy with the showing that Jacksonville had. Some
Yes,
of my players broke my heart, but Trevor Lawrence still played fantastic.
he did. He did.
He turned the ball over though. That's the only thing is he threw the ball. He threw an interception. I believe he
Yeah,
had a strip too. Didn't someone knock it out of his
yeah.
hand?
Strips, I don't really, unless you're holding on to the ball too long, I never put that on the quarterback.
Okay,
That's always
is
an
that more an O
offensive
line
line.
thing?
Yeah, that's
He
more of
did
an O
get
line
sacked
thing to
four
me.
times.
Yeah, which doesn't help, especially if it was in big spots. I could not remember. I did see him though. He threw that pick, and it was an ugly one. In my opinion, there was a lot of tip drill picks yesterday. I
So
feel
many,
like a
so
lot
many.
of tip drill picks. But talking about these two teams specifically, Drew, they're very multiple. Every week there's a new hero. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying on
Yeah,
each
look at
one of the
Agnew.
teams. Yes, yeah, which I was glad to see. Obviously, in our fantasy matchup, that it wasn't Christian Kirk.
He had the
So
yards, not the touchdowns.
Jaguars rush defense let the team down. I feel like though,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
because you know who was on my bench? Miles
Sanders.
Sanders. Yeah,
Yep.
just made
Yeah.
some. I made some. I feel like the coach at the podium be like, "Hey, this one's on me, guys. I made some bad coaching decisions. I put the wrong personnel in there at times.
Right.
Don't ask my guys any questions. This one's on me.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, wait for you to stand up at the podium like that, man. You know, take that L.
Yeah.
Take that L. But it was a great game. It was a good game.
All right, Zach Wilson returns for the Jets. They get the win over surprisingly Pickett and the Steelers. But our boy Kenny threw 3 picks after coming in for Mr. Trubisky. But here's the thing, Shawn. You hit the button. You put the rookie in. He's in there now. He's your QB.
Yep.
Now you're serving him up on a platter to that Buffalo Bills defense next week.
Yeah. And I mean, more than likely, they're gonna throw the wall at they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at this dude. But I think he
Would
will
you
be
blitz
poised.
every down?
He
At
might
least
be a
in the
core.
beginning, just mess with him.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got it though. At least when I'm coming into it, 50% blitz, right?
Yeah.
And I may change those numbers up. However, he did show some poise. And honestly, bro, he was picked 3 times, yes. But I think it's a false narrative because Kenny was out there throwing YOLO throws, trying to get his team back into the game.
He did go 10 for 13. Unfortunately, those 3 were the picks.
That's what I'm saying. And they were on deep passes. Like he was trying to do what Mitchell Trubisky would not do.
Yeah.
And that's what you got. Unfortunately, it just and he, bro, I gotta get shout to Kenny Pickett, early shout, because he didn't look phased. He threw 3 picks and he did not look
Kept
like
slinging.
he was like, yeah,
Yeah, he's like, it happens.
yeah, right, right.
If he comes in, like, because he's a gunslinger, and all those gunslingers have that mentality, like, hey, I'm going to throw some interceptions.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's great. I didn't get to see the end of it, so if you're saying he was smiling, that's awesome. So, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You're the
After
starter
each one of them.
QB. Why not? No, you're like,
And
hey, I'm still playing.
right. He was trying to spark spark the win.
Yeah.
And you have to give a shout out to the Jets. They did make the plays. Don't get me wrong. They did make the plays. But I think that Salah and Zach Wilson, to a lesser extent, was like, there's no way we are losing this game with a cold Kenny Pickett coming in. And they did it. It did. Shout out to the Jets defense too. They really showed out.
Yeah.
Minka, though, defensive player of the year. I don't know if he wound up coming back in, or is he seriously hurt?
I haven't seen
say
anything about him being seriously hurt.
cool.
I have
Cool,
no
cool.
update on him as of
Awesome.
right now.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, because I know he went out for a couple plays, and I was
okay.
like, damn. But
I
didn't
didn't
know if
see
he
him
came
on the
back. I didn't see it
seriously
either.
injured list.
Yeah. Cool.
Bills come back on the Ravens. Shawn, it looked like the Ravens go run away with that one. Does that comeback say more about the Bills and what they're capable of, or just the Ravens kind of throwing it away?
Oh man, dang. I'm not gonna ride the fence on this one. I'm not gonna ride the fence. I'm gonna say it's more so the Bills and what they're capable of, and how they just keep fighting, and how they have the personnel and the coaching to get them out of any situations. Like I love feeling that confident. Like I felt back in 2020, like regardless of what is happening with my team, we good.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So like they were down and it was getting ugly early, and then they just kept fighting. And I think that is more of a testament to what Buffalo is going to be able to do this season, man. To be honest with you,
both QBs led their teams in rushing, so as advertised.
It was. It was. I felt like Allen was just like, nah, he's not going to do that to me today. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like, I'm winning this game. And that's why I really liked what I saw from Buffalo. You can't say you didn't like what you saw from the Ravens, but Drew, you got to speak to that defense, man. I think this is the culmination of what people have been wanting, what people have been seeing from Baltimore for Baltimore's defense, and wanting a lot more is what I meant to say.
For sure. I mean, they did you got to give it to them. They did keep Diggs in check, so that's pretty good on their part.
Yeah.
Only had 4 receptions for 62 yards.
Right.
But stay tuned for housekeeping notes, because defense getting a little agitated with some things. So we'll see what happened. Chargers beat the Texans. Her bear playing through the pain. 340 yards, 2 touchdowns.
0 picks.
Poor Texans.
Yeah. But I mean, Drew, he did her bear did all that with barbecue ribs, man. He still had bad ribs, and he still did that. Austin Eckler finally getting involved with 3 touchdowns. Shout out to his fantasy owners.
Glad I didn't play him this week, but it really didn't matter.
Yeah, right. Drew, Damian Pierce has to be at least top 3 in the running for offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah,
has to be. Gotta be another 100+ yard day. And Mike Williams continues to shine without Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen didn't play, so I just need them to do that when Keenan Allen gets back. They need to figure out a way to integrate both and get. I mean, if you see Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle going off in a bunch of these offenses with 2 receivers, getting 100 yards. It should not be that hard for Justin Herbert to get 200-yard receivers on his offense.
You got you got a good tight end. Like I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Cardinals beat the Panthers. Rule's still our coach.
Yeah. He ain't making no changes.
That's all I got. I'm completely checked out while Matt Rule is still our coach. It is what it is. Because I mean, the Cardinals, they left enough of a door open. We could have won that game.
Yeah,
but we didn't.
I thought that y'all might. The way that it looked early, it was back and forth, and I thought the Cardinals were going to, piss down their leg, and it didn't happen. Unfortunately, it was the Panthers. Drew, before we move on, you got to speak on the situation. We have to talk about it. How are you feeling about the Baker Mayfield experiment thus far in? Like, to me, to an outside observer, and I'll kick it to you, it just looks meh.
It's not working, man. It's unfortunately not working. We don't have our future quarterback on our roster right now. Mm-hmm. We have to blow it up. We have to get a new coach. We have to let him pick his quarterback, his system, his offense. The good thing is there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out next year. So this is an okay place to be in. We're losing games, so keep getting that higher draft pick. But let me throw this back to you because I want to ask an outsider's question because I think because I've read all the reports on Twitter and I feel like my judgment's skewed. Does our defense look undersized?
Ooh, undersized. I mean,
because I look at your linebackers.
Yeah,
they're beasts of human beings.
And Frankie Louvu actually had a pretty good day. He had a pretty good day,
and he's having a good season. Shaq's a great player. I like Shaq. Yeah. But I just feel like when the camera zooms back out and they're showing the teams, my mind immediately is like, we look small.
I mean, that's the thing is like with that, and I would just have to like kind of go back, I guess, and actually look at it. But I mean, if you feel that way about your team, then they probably do look small, But from an outsider's perspective, I know what you have in J.C. Horn. I know what you have in Jeremy Chin. Derek Brown is a good piece. He's doing what at least he needs to do to not be thrown out with the bathwater whenever they clean house there. And like I said, and Frankie Louvu is also a player who is at least going to be a depth piece. You know what I'm saying? So like there's some pieces there on the defense, but in large part, I feel like y'all have been dedicating so many assets to the offense that now it's just time for the tide to turn. And I feel like every franchise comes with that. But
I hadn't been a part of a complete and utter demolish rebuild, so let's do it. I'm here for it.
And then y'all did, but then y'all went 7 defense in the
couple whole years defense ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah,
everybody defense.
And that's the thing is like hopefully you would get more out of what you gotten, but I don't think it's shown up yet.
The draft and these things. Packers get an ugly win over the Patriots. Rodgers says afterwards, playing like this cannot sustain winning. So in other words, can't keep playing like this.
And he's right. And he is right. They should not have 2 wins over these last 2 weeks. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, they shouldn't have had to wait till an overtime field goal to beat the battered Patriots.
Yep.
That doesn't scream NFC champion to me.
And Drew, I mean, what do you think about the Packers moving forward? I'm like, if this is what they're going to look like, they might make it to the playoffs, but it's going to be a first round exit. I don't know that it's sustainable enough for them to get there at this point.
With the Vikings playing like that? I hate to say it, but the Vikings playing like that?
Right.
Yeah, because we said early on there's not going to be 2 teams out of this division.
Yeah.
So as the Packers the odd man out, that'd be insane. Because it looks to me like we've all been at those jobs where you just you're not that happy because someone's berating you constantly. Like your boss is like nitpicking everything you do.
Right.
And so you don't give 100%. That's what these wide receivers look like to me. Like Rodgers yells at them. the whole offense really, because you see him yell at his center, like slap
Yeah.
his center on the arm. I'd be like, "You're getting popped next time." I'm gonna let this guy. I'm gonna olay this defensive tackle, and he's gonna eat you alive.
Oh man. Yeah,
But
I
I feel
could
like
see that
he's
happening.
I feel like he's being too picky. I feel like he's probably berating them in practice. He's probably putting all of this on them and not taking any of the responsibility for not being there in the preseason and building that chemistry. And I feel like the wide receivers are like, if I drop it, I drop it. Whatever.
Yeah, I was glad to see that they got Christian Watson a little bit more involved.
But they're having to hand the
Finally,
ball. They're having to hand
right,
it to him. They can't
right.
throw it to him.
Yeah, notice I didn't say they passed it to him. So I just don't see it for the Packers. I mean, the defense is they've been solid and they should be very very good, but they've been spotty. So it's just something going on there this year. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it
Yeah.
though.
Raiders get their first win over Russ and the Broncos.
Man, talk about being all bad, man. The Broncos and shout to the Raiders for finally doing what they should have been doing all the whole time, and that's being balanced by giving the rock to Josh Jacobs.
He's still a great running back. I don't know
He
why
is.
people are like, I mean, he might not be what he was. Like he didn't show any signs of that.
It's almost
The
like the
offense
coach
wasn't
slept
that
on
good.
him.
Well, the offense wasn't that good last year, so of course his numbers went down.
Yeah, that's true. They have a marquee receiver.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But it's almost like the coach was sleep, like McDaniels was sleeping on his own player. But 28 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Welcome back.
Devontae Adams, yeah, it's funny how that opens up. Devontae Adams had 100 yards, and it's not like the Broncos defense is a slouch. Like Patrick Surtain was still doing his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. The loss not on Russ though. I did put that in my notes. The loss is not necessarily on Russ. They did have some the red zone issues were a little bit better, but for the Raiders, I think this has to be the formula going forward. Drew, what you got?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't know what the formula for the Broncos is going forward though. But let's go ahead. Last game to cover because we're at Monday, so we hadn't seen the Rams 49ers, which I'm looking forward to tonight. I think it's gonna be a good game.
It's gonna be a good game.
But I'll let you speak on it. Chiefs 41, Bucks 31, Sunday night, prime time. Your Bucks, Mahomes 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Brady 385, 3 touchdowns. Your Bucks ran the ball 6 times.
So this was, I think, a bigger story than it actually needs to be, because they were so far behind. What are they supposed to do?
Fair.
You know what I'm saying?
And you have Tom Brady.
Yeah, and he's a quarterback who can do it. Like
Yeah.
Tom is going to be able to check into what he wants to, but they got so far behind the 8 ball early, man, that they were playing catch up. I'm not worried about them running the ball.
Right.
The problem is what I didn't see coming, and I thought the defense was just going to have their way with Patrick Mahomes in that offense. They came in with a great game plan. Todd Bowles couldn't adjust. The defense, they just looked out of sorts, and they got their ass handed to them early, and they look mentally defeated. Talking about Aaron Rodgers receivers, they look mentally defeated, and I didn't expect that. They got to get better in the run game.
Y'all put Mahomes in the spin cycle, and he still did a little shovel pass to
that pissed me off.
I bet I would.
That pissed me off
because I had the opposite beside me on the couch. She was my wife, the Chiefs fan, was losing, having a great time. So I can imagine reverse world over in your house.
Oh,
what,
man?
Yeah,
I wanted when he got out, and it was finally like they was just about to get him, and he finally got out the pocket. And I was like, please lay this motherfucker out, like. And Devin White, man, he's just like a bull in a china shop. He just got to slow down. He had opportunities, but man, shout out to the Chiefs.
He also wrecked shop too. Sometimes there was a couple games where he ran through some people.
Yeah. So just a quick note before we move on, but shout out to the Chiefs. Bucks. It was good to see the offense is now capable. I need the defense to now do what they did the first 3 weeks of the season, and we should be good. So still some positives to take away, but I'm glad that they got their ass whooped by a good team, because they should have beat Green Bay, and then they see what it's like. They can't slack off, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't slack off.
It's nice to lose these games early in the season. Nobody wants to be the undefeated Patriots. in the Super Bowl.
Nope.
All right, got some housekeeping notes for you. Tua's doctor got fired. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, he did. He did. He should have. He should have.
And another bit of shocking news: Tua's going to sit out week 5. They've already gone ahead and not. He'll be out a month. Let him recalibrate. But he's going to miss his freaking season. I'm calling it now, Shawn. Dude misses 2 weeks. That's it.
I can see that in that way too, but the money talks, man.
Yeah. Falcons running back Patterson on IR, small knee procedure we talked about earlier. Got his knee scoped, so he should be back in 4 to 6, give or take.
Yeah.
IR is 4 weeks minimum. Right? Minimum.
Cordell Patterson, man, it might be a big blow, but they had some nice young cats come in and do some things, so maybe we'll see what happens there.
Hate to see it. Williams, Broncos running back Javonte Williams, torn ACL, out for the season. Now they got to rely on fumbling Melvin Gordon.
I felt so bad for Melvin Gordon yesterday, man. The way that joint came out there was Broncos was toting that rock too, man, and then that joint just slipped out. Oh man!
I was in my hot bod to hear my own little sound effects like. Bloop, bloop. Bills wide receiver Crowder broken foot to miss significant time. They didn't put a timetable on it.
It's bad.
Yeah. Colts Shaq Leonard concussion out this week in protocol.
Has Shaq played at all this year?
I thought he played this week and then got knocked out.
Oh man. He might need to change his name back.
I think this was his return because he was on IR. This was his name. This was his return, and now he got a concussion.
Yeah, he might need to change his name back.
Darius didn't miss as many games. Patriots signed linebacker Jamie Collins for the 4th time.
I mean, how many times do you need to
re-sign a guy? Man.
Just give him a contract. Damn.
God. JJ Watt, dealing with a heart issue, played. He went into AFib on Wednesday, shocked back into a regular rhythm Thursday, played football on Sunday.
Just that whole paragraph. We're shocked back into a normal rhythm, like and this is sort of in my wheelhouse. That will take it out of the regular person. I'm sorry, like having your heart rhythm shot back from AFib,
and especially you're weak from it being an AFib in the first place because you're not pumping all the blood to where it needs to go.
Oh my God, bro! JJ Watt, man, they're nuts. The whole Watt family
is nuts.
Well,
we alluded to it a little bit earlier, but John Harbaugh and Marcus Peters could be seen in a shouting match and had to be separated after the Ravens lost to the Bills.
I mean, I'm not surprised by Marcus Peters being that spat, but
I've never seen Harbaugh yell at the player before, though.
That's how I know it's big. Yeah, that's how I know it's big, man. Because I mean, Harbaugh, any coach is instantly aware of the cameras being there. Marcus Peters don't give a damn.
No.
So I want to. Next week is going to be very interesting, especially in the matchup, which we will be talking about. Stay tuned, like and subscribe, man. We got you coming up.
All right, man. This is my favorite segment. It is time for 3 and Out.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Shawn, first down. You are up, sir.
All right, Drew, first down. We coming out, firing out the gate. We not running on first down, Byron Leftwich. Maybe take a hint. First question on first down. Most likely to lose in the first round of the playoffs, only based on what you have seen thus far, Drew. Okay. All 3 of these teams are
early exits. Okay.
Exit. Okay. So right now, all 3 of these teams are in the playoffs if the season were at the end of the day. Is it the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, or the Cleveland Browns?
Oh, I'm going to go Browns. Because they've been giving us great game, bad game. Okay game, bad game. Mm-hmm. Mediocre game, bad game. So if they catch him on the right off week, that you gone.
Yeah, yeah. Ain't that what happened to him the last time they went to the playoffs too?
Yes.
No, I think they won a game. No, they won a
Didn't Baker?
yeah, he bakered. He bakered. A sign of things to come, unfortunately. A sign of
Mhm.
things to come.
But no, I
All
would
right.
love to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars at like the 4 seed
Oh man.
playing
Play
the
the five.
Browns. Yeah.
Oh man. I'll be honest, Drew, I'd be scared of Jacksonville in the playoffs. Because that means they
Peterson
confident.
knows how to win too.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Super Bowl winning coach. All
And
right.
so and like you said before, you never know who's going to put up the points. That's always dangerous in the playoffs.
It is. It is. All right, man. Great question. Like that, like the
That
little
was
back and
good.
forth
Oh
we
yeah.
had there.
Yeah. All right.
Second down, man. What you got?
Second down, it's a two-parter. It's
Ooh.
been a year for the quarterback position already. So give me a starter who's played like a backup and a backup who needs to get a chance as a starter.
Ooh, back. Okay, starter to backup,
Yeah.
backup to starter.
Yeah.
Bro, I'll be honest, and I don't know if this is a layup here, but old Russell Wilson. You
That's
might
not who
need
I thought you were going with. So there we go.
you might need to take a back seat. Honorable mention Matt Ryan, and those two have a game coming up.
The
This
battle
week
of
five,
mediocre.
the patty of mediocrity. Drew, I gotta go with Russell Wilson,
Okay.
because of what they are paying. They paying him more than Matty Ice,
So much money.
so
And
I
a
need more
long-term deal. Like that's the
long
gut
term deal.
wrencher.
Yep,
You
and
signed a long-term
we
deal.
we talked about this. Javonte Williams aside, man, Jerry Judy, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, who's doing his thing.
Love
You
it.
know what I'm saying?
Love it.
I don't know. I don't know,
Yep.
Russ. I don't know.
Could it be Denver
So
still needs a quarterback?
them pockets is hurting though. Them pockets
I'm
are
just saying that's all we
hurting.
heard. Denver just needs a quarterback. Denver just
Oh
needs a quarterback.
man, there's a lot more starters to backups, but backup to starter. Just to answer your question, uh, mm, damn, damn. Uh, Drew. I mean, he hadn't played,
Okay.
but maybe you could speak to this a little bit more, just going off the top of the dome. Is it Sam Darnold time?
I mean, so here's I dug into a little bit. Here's the update on Sam Darnold because
Right.
people are calling for that switcheroony in
Yeah.
Carolina, but because we're a year removed from Sam Darnold starting us off 3-0, so people are remembering
Oh,
the good times.
yeah.
But just
Oh man.
remember we did this last year when we are like, remember the memories, and we brought Cam Newton back in, and
Yeah.
he won a game, and we were like, okay,
Fever pitch.
and then we are like, nope.
Yeah.
So
Man.
the quarterback is not on the roster, but the reason we can't put Darnold back in and at least see is Darnold
Right.
is eligible to come off of IR, but we're being told just still not ready to play.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So his health is keeping us from trying that experiment. But the way Baker played, I'm down to try. Like why
Sure.
I'm waiting for Matt. I wish Matt Corral was healthy. Throw
Oh
that dude in the
yeah.
mix. So,
Honorable mention though. Honorable mention has to be the quarterback situation in New Orleans. Jameis being injured, Andy Dalton actually being on the field
you
and
think
not
Dalton
doing
could be
bad.
consistent for him?
Yeah, I
They could
mean,
find a groove with him.
we talked about it earlier. I just know that there's not the turnover production there
Yeah.
with Andy
Okay.
Dalton, unless
More
they
of a
make him
team,
whatever
more of a game manager instead of the explosive plays. But you're
that you do.
saying
Yeah,
in New Orleans, you kind of might want the game manager.
yeah,
Okay.
they might need it.
All
All right, so third down,
What you got?
Listen, Heartbreak Hotel on the way here, but Drew, we got to ask the question here. We asked the hard questions here on Nickel and Dime. Like and subscribe. How many losses get Dan Campbell fired in 2022?
Oh, because there's got to be a number, and I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say 12.
Mm.
Well,
You said that, and that like my heart dropped.
Yeah, because I
You
feel like
know,
they could get 12, unfortunately. So I
it's
that
the way that it happens, though. You know.
yeah, yeah. I feel like they're going to be a little more patient with him, but he's got to show something. Like he's
Right.
doing a good job with showing these tough. Like he's not getting blown out. Like if
Yeah.
they start losing bad, that's when I
Definitely.
think he's going to
Yeah.
go. So
But
I think it's more with how he loses, with like
true.
total number.
Well, and that's what like you kind of like hitting into my point there, talking about how they lose. I feel like all of their losses, even dating back to last season, have just been heartbreakers.
Yeah,
And
I
after a while as an owner, I'm like, damn, how many times you gonna break my heart? Like, can you win
right,
some of these games?
right.
But
I
you know,
do.
I
I think it could be one of those situations where he gets another year, but they fire like the defensive coordinator.
that I can see because the
Yeah,
defense definitely let them down on this last one here, man. I don't know. All right, what you got on fourth down, man?
fourth down. If the playoffs started today, 3 NFC East teams would be in. Now we know that's probably not going to happen. So who falls off?
Oh, okay, okay. So obviously Philly, Giants, and Dallas.
Dallas.
Oh man, if uh, I don't just want to say the Giants because I feel
This
like that's
could
the
be a both. You could be like the Giants and the Cowboys.
yeah. I would probably have to go with the Giants, but don't take that as me writing them off
Yeah,
because I'm
they're
I'm a
winning
big
games.
they're winning games and that's what matters to me. I don't care how you do it. You know what I mean?
Put your crystal ball on your desk for a second. Do you see any kind of chemistry issues when Dak comes back?
For Jerry's sake, he better hope not. He better hope not because then he gonna have some decisions to make. And Jerry, you know, he has said so himself, and we can all see it on Jerry's face. Not wishing this man off or anything, but he ain't got a lot of time.
Because
So,
I mean, just
you
the
know,
first thing that popped in my head was the Kyrie Irving Duke Blue Devil situation, where Kyrie
oh
came back
yeah,
for the tournament,
screwed it
but
up.
Nolan was crushing it, Nolan Smith, and
Yep.
he just completely messed up. He was the better player by far,
Yeah,
talent
yeah,
wise,
yeah,
but just completely messed up that chemistry.
yeah. And you would hope not because, talking about time, 17 games, Drew. That's all we have.
Yeah,
So if it maybe if I'm Jerry, I'm just he's off. I'm not a doctor anyway. I'm saying so. Hey, I'm not really a doctor. So I said 4 weeks, but it's looking like it might be
yeah.
six. You
I
know,
think if anything, this gives them a little more leeway to be like, let's make sure you're really healthy because Rush is playing well.
yeah.
He's what you want your backup come in for an injured starter to do.
All right, and it's looking like that Cooper Rush talking about has the chemistry with CD Lamb that I want Dak Prescott to have.
Well, that's what they were. I was watching all these shows, the get ups and the NFL lives and all this, and that's what they were
Right.
saying is Cooper Rush might not be causing a quarterback controversy, but he's showing on a simplistic level all the bullet points you were wishing Dak was going to hit.
That's
The
very true.
the decision making,
Yeah.
the uh not just forcing a run down the field when you don't see anything,
Yeah.
dropping back and resetting. So
Yeah.
he's breaking this Dallas offense down on a level that they're just hoping Dak is seeing on the sidelines and being like, "Oh, I should do that."
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not sure where the disconnect was coming from with Dak because Dak was before the injury that he had from last year, the ankle, like the whole year off. Dak was one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Cruising. Like they were
Yeah.
cruising to be one of the best teams in the NFC and he was in the MVP talks.
Yep. So a year off, man. Maybe he's just working his way back. So right now,
It was a
Cooper
gruesome
Cooper
injury, so I
Cooper
get it.
Rush is that dude. He's right now. He's that dude.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Oh
So, what's up?
no, wait, hold on. I just gotta
Oh,
ask.
okay.
I gotta ask.
Okay. All right.
Drew, just based on what we've seen, we talked about it before, but I just gotta know straight up,
Oh, straight up.
who is the better team, Minnesota or Green Bay?
You want me to say Minnesota because of Kirk Cousins? You know how much I hate that man. Uh,
You know, 3-1 is 3-1, and one team is looking like they, you know,
yeah, I truly believe in my heart of hearts the Packers are still the better team. Like I still think I still would take the Packers defense over the Vikings.
on paper, on
Yeah,
paper.
you're right. You're right.
Well,
And I
it, I,
still take
go ahead.
Jones and Dillon over Cook and Madison, even though Madison's been playing fantastic.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it's I don't want to be a Aaron Rodgers homer because he's been killing me in fantasy football, so I'm actually losing faith in this
I
man.
mean, he's losing faith in his surrounding cast, so everybody's
Yeah,
losing faith all over the place.
yeah. I'm very intrigued when these guys play again
Yeah,
to see where they're at later on in the season because I think right now the Vikings have figured out what Green Bay needs to figure out. I still think on talent wise, Green Bay's the better team. The Vikings are just cooking faster than Green Bay can.
yeah. And talking, you were talking about the Minnesota defense, like they've had some meh periods, obviously with the losses that they've had, but also or the loss that they had, but like also they seem to rise to the occasion whenever they need to get it done,
Yeah,
and that's something that you can't quantify. So
nice.
it had to be asked.
Yeah, that was a great question
Yeah.
because I don't know exactly. Yeah. All right, you got some shout outs for us this week before we
I
move on
do.
to our matchups.
Oh yeah, I definitely do, man. First shout out to Danico Autry, Tennessee Titans lineman. Just the game record, 2 sacks yesterday, 2 key sacks is
Yes,
why he's getting the shout out in that game with that furious comeback that Matt Ryan tried to get off.
they try.
Shout to the boy Josh Jacobs, man.
Okay,
Finally
nice.
coming back. I'm a big Josh Jacobs fan. And I feel like now he should be featured going forward. He has to be. We talked about it
Got
earlier. He
to.
has to be. Also, shout to the guy T. Higgins. There is a T. Higgins section of people out there who thinks he's the best receiver on the Bengals. He's got ability. Oh, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I might be one of those people.
No, there you go. See, Drew might be in that fan club.
He's just made some acrobatic catches lately,
Yeah,
man. I've just been like, I don't know many people that could do
yeah, yeah, and he's showing that. As much as I hate this,
that.
as much as I hate this, shout out to Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay,
That
yeah.
dude, he
He
might
only
be
knows one gear, right?
only, and he runs angry. That dude
Yeah.
runs angry. He is
Every
a running back.
single play.
Yeah, yeah. He wants to be a starter, and I like.
He will be.
Hey, he hungry.
Yeah,
He
he will
he
be.
hungry.
Yeah.
So
We'll see him
uh
like 3 years pop up on like the Bengals and be like, who's that? Oh, that guy.
they better not get rid of him. They better
Oh,
not get rid of that dude.
yeah.
And the last two, man, shout to the Buffalo Bills, because they don't give a like they don't give a they don't care. They don't care.
And
Okay.
that might be the mentality to have to finally put him over the edge.
Yep. Yeah. So just nobody gives a fucking Buffalo. From the coaching staff to the owner, the fans,
The
the offense,
people,
the
the
defense.
tables.
They don't care.
Bills
And
Mafia.
last shout out, man. Shout out to the New York Jets getting that win when it looks like, I mean, all the momentum was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
New quarterback, all that. Shout to the Jets. And shout to Robert Saleh for pulling out these wins, maybe saving his job.
I didn't realize Zach Wilson was back in until I saw him hit the gritty. And because in my mind it was still Flacco. And I was like, look at Flacco right there. I was like, I was like, oh, it's Zach Wilson. Okay.
Yeah. Catching a touchdown, too. Catching a touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Shawn, let's get into our matchups of the week.
Do it, man. Let's do it, man.
Speaking of Jets, I'll hit you with my first one. Miami Dolphins at New York Jets. It's the battle of second place in the NFC East, I guess. Because, hey,
Yeah,
if you're the Jets, Tua's hurt, Jones is hurt. If you go make a run to be second fiddle to the Bills, this is your chance right here.
yeah,
Your boy's back, looking good. Your boy,
yeah.
uh, Brees Hall's stepping up. You got a plethora of wide receivers all of a sudden. So
Very
here's your
true.
chance.
Yeah, you're right. It's in front of them. I didn't even realize what we were talking about here until you just spoke on it. But yeah, them boys got a chance, man. And I mean, you can probably speak to it more than I can, but it feels like the Jets are catching these boys at the right time. You know?
Perfect time.
Yeah,
Because here we were just talking about this log jam of all these teams. The Jets are 2-2.
yeah,
If they win
yeah,
this game against Teddy Bridgewater, which is they can, 3-2, looking all right.
yeah. And definitely, I mean, 3-2 after five or what week is this?
Yeah,
Week five. Yeah, so
five,
3-2 after 5 games. Nobody's had a bye yet, I don't think. But
no,
you're in the playoff hunt. That's all you can ask for a Jets team that nobody thought anything of. You
yeah.
know,
Davis looked great. Uh, who was the
fine.
other
Yeah.
receiver? I just had it pulled up.
Braxton Berrios. I think
Barrios.
he was the one that threw the touchdown. I know.
Yeah.
But
Moore showed up.
oh yeah, that's right. How quickly we forget that he's even on the roster
Yep.
because he's been injured and hasn't really done much. But good on him though.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore. Yeah.
I would like to see Carter get involved in the run game a little bit more, have that two-headed
Yeah.
monster. But I mean, he got some chances and only had averaged 1.7 yards. So,
yeah.
but I
Yeah.
want to see how Bridgewater does with the receivers he has, because his big question in Carolina was he couldn't throw the ball down the field because we had I'm not saying we had the level of talent that Miami has with Waddle and Hill. We had some fast receivers that could get open down the field, and Teddy couldn't hit them with accuracy late in the game. So I want to see how they combat.
That's a big question.
Yeah, they combat. Not their backups in, so it's a step down in talent. Because you're
Yeah.
evaluating your talent, but a step down in arm strength.
Which is big for that off. I mean, you just spoke to it, man. So I think that's going to be the key. Miami running game is going to be the key, keeping the pressure off Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to get in there. I mean, as far as the Jets are concerned, though, what are they going to pull out? Because I feel like for as even as the records say that these two teams are, New York should be desperate to get this win, just to change the narrative around themselves. You know what I mean?
And to not lose to a backup.
That's
Because like
true.
it hurts a little bit more when you lose a game when you see an opportunity. You're like, oh man, we really messed out. Like we lost the game, we shouldn't have lost that game.
It's one of those losses that may turn into two. We was talking about earlier a team that like loses heartbreakers. Don't let it become two.
Dips. Yeah, because Davis can, just as we talked about, he was popped up, he could disappear. Zach Wilson can disappear. This defense could start making some mistakes.
Yeah.
All right, what you got for your first matchup?
All right, first matchup, man. I think I'm gonna we'll do that one. We'll do this one first. I got Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Ooh,
big game,
division
big game in the AFC. Yeah, and this is a Sunday night game. And Baltimore is at home now. Right now, Baltimore is the favorite, probably because of the Bengals' record and what they have showed. But
the Bengals are waking up, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's 2-2 teams.
Yeah.
For as bad as the Bengals have been,
they're waking
up. They now got two straight up wins.
Yeah, you know those two defensive ends are starting to get to the quarterback more. They're starting to look more like they were last year. Like I said, I think Burrow's getting that chemistry. T. Higgins is playing ridiculous. Like even some of the catches he's made didn't even count because Burrow threw him out of bounds and he did his best to try to stay and like barely touched a toe on the white line. Like the catches this dude's making are ridiculous. And we're forgetting Tyler Boyd is still a great wide receiver. He just happens to be number 3 on the Bengals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is still a deadly team. I think the Ravens are still a deadly team as well because they were starting to figure some things out with their receivers. I think they kind of got smacked in the face with Buffalo on their comeback, and
They
they
did.
couldn't. They got shut out in the second half. That's very
Yeah.
unlike the Ravens. It's usually flip flop. They're usually the ones coming back and scoring in the second half.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued at who wins this game, and
Man,
I honestly don't know.
well, and that's what I'm saying. I think you have to give a slight bump to the home team, but like just based on what I'm seeing in the numbers for this game, Drew, it makes for an interesting matchup. So you talk about the receivers that the Bengals have. They're a 2-2 team, but they're still seventh as far as passing yards in the league right now. They're seventh.
They need to be top 3 for this to
Top
work.
hat. Well, and I think they could be trending in the right direction,
Yeah,
like we were just
yeah.
talking about. What's interesting though is the Bengals have not been rushing the ball that
And they
well.
got 2 fantastic running backs.
They really do. They really do. I do want to see more. Well, I want to see more from Mixon and P. Ron, but I know what Mixon can give you. I don't know what's going on there,
Just
but
like they
still,
can't
I
get him
say,
started some games.
well, yeah. And what's interesting though is they are second in time of possession, even without the run game being that
Huh.
good in the league. So I don't know what's going on
That's an
there.
interesting stat.
Right. But as far as Baltimore is concerned, first in interceptions. They're first in it as far as the interceptions. That honestly is about where it gets is the best part of the Baltimore defense. Like they can
Yeah.
turn the ball over, but other than that, man, like they're middle to bottom half in the league in all the stats. So how are
Oof.
they going to
Oof.
be in all the categories or
Maybe that's what
whatnot?
Harbaugh
So
said to Marcus Peters as he walked by.
yeah, and the Bengals are actually they're kind of all over the place, but in some good in some key categories, they're eighth in points against per game, fourth in rushing yards against per game, and top 10 as far as an interception. So you know, Bengals defense waking up as well. On the road, I want to see how it shakes out, bro. What is
Yeah.
Lamar? Well, I mean, obviously Lamar Burrow. What is the rushing game going to give you for the Ravens? J.K. Dobbins now back, so a lot of questions to be answered, but I feel like whoever wins this game is now ready for that next matchup with Buffalo. You know what I mean?
Very true. Very true. I like it. My second matchup I have it's a little out there. It's the New York Giants versus the Green Bay Packers in London. The
Ooh,
early
that's right. That
game.
is the London game.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're both 3-1. They're both have I feel like more questions than answers for being a 3-1 team.
Right.
The like Aaron Rodgers said, the Packers cannot keep playing the way they are and win games. And like we said earlier, the Giants just win. Saquon Barkley is 100% back. My man is
He is.
thriving.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is Tannehilling it up and doing his best and doing enough. We still don't know where Kenny Galladay is, but they're figuring it out. And this Giants defense is scary again, and I'm very excited to see how these guys play it in Tottenham in Wembley.
The big tot as it's dubbed on the Around the NFL podcast. I like that name, man. I if the Giants could pull out this game, and it has to be, you know, we can't just give it to the Packers because the Packers hadn't looked that good, and the Giants somehow keep winning games like we've been alluding to all show. I'm in talking about being at a neutral site. You really don't get neutral site games in the NFL unless it's in London or a Super Bowl. You
Yeah,
know,
and I mean even the
so
Super Bowls hadn't been neutral lately.
you're right. So I mean, this is about at a neutral site. I
Yeah,
don't know. Is this Aaron Rodgers' first time over in London? Though his first game.
I don't recall them playing there
Yeah,
before.
that's what I'm saying. It feels like his first time. Everybody's first time usually ain't the greatest, especially in Jameis Winston's case.
Yeah, we got to what we. I'm interested to see if it's the Giants' first time too. So like, who breaks that curse?
Right, right. So, I foresee a lot of Daniel Jones running in
Yeah,
in this one. I foresee that.
and they give
Uh,
up rushing yards to a quarterback. So
Yeah, and but it's the great equalizer for
Yeah,
everything that Aaron Rodgers can do through the air. Daniel Jones can do on the ground and just
just
completely negate anything that they
just
do.
just not in open field because he'll trip himself.
Well, it usually happens to the best of us.
I would probably fall too. Like I'm by myself. What? Oh,
Yeah, man. So I'm curious to see who comes away with the win. As far as who needs it more, I
Packers.
think I gotta go with the Packers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
no
gotta
one
go with the
expected the
Packers.
Giants to be here.
Nope. And they
Everyone
need it.
expected the Packers to be 4-0 at this point, dominating,
They
and they're
looking up
not.
at the Vikings. So, oh, who'd have thought that? All right.
Yeah.
So my last matchup, I'm going with Dallas Cowboys. We talked about Cooper Rush earlier versus the LA Rams.
Ooh, going Hollywood on me. Okay.
Yeah, at SoFi, man. Depending now, we talked about this earlier, but we're filming on Monday. Rams have not played yet, but either way, whether they win this game, which it'll be a 3-1 team versus a 3-1 team, who's going to take that next step, put themselves in the top tier of the NFC, or if the Rams lose, them up need to be desperate because you know they're going against a hot Cooper Rush team. Now you definitely need to win. You're at home. You hadn't looked that great. You coming off a division loss. So either way for the Rams, I think coming into this game, this is going to be one of the marquee matchups of the week. And who would have thought, Drew, that between these two teams, that Dallas arguably has the better defense at this point.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy to think because the superstars are. Well, I mean, they're about even on superstars. So yeah, that's fun. That's crazy to think.
yeah,
Dallas.
yeah. And maybe and we gotta give a shout to Dan Quinn. I mean, Dan Quinn is continuing to put his stamp on his defense, and I want to know how how the Rams, excuse me, are going to incorporate their stars a little bit more. Like I know what Cooper Rush, or excuse me, I know what Cooper Cup is giving you. He continues to produce. That's a known factor for me. But are they going to continue to integrate Cam Akers, or what's the share between him and Darrell Henderson? Who else is going to step up in the receiving game for the Los Angeles Rams? You know, uh,
Yeah, they got to get some help for
yeah, they do.
sure.
And now Gallup's back, so that's another weapon for Cooper Rush. And now he's got three of them
For
because
Rush,
I say three because
well, he still got his homie.
you've seen the chemistry what he has with Noah Brown.
Yeah, they've been on the
So
practice squad chilling.
you
They're
know,
just throwing on the sideline while the starters are in. Just like whatever.
but I will say, in order to keep Cooper Rush effective, Dallas got to run the ball better.
Yeah,
They're going to have to run the ball better in this game,
Pollard,
man.
Pollard, you're breaking our hearts, man. You're
Yeah,
disappearing on us this year when we
yeah,
called for you to get more carries. You gotta do
yeah.
something with your carries to get more carries.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best way to put it. And Zeke is getting involved in the pass game too, Drew. So, how are they going to do it? I'm curious to see how it all shakes out, what the game plan is for both teams, and how they come out on top.
Yeah, because
But this should be a good one.
on the flip side of that, the Rams need to get their run game going too.
Yeah,
So
both teams.
yeah,
Which that might be the factor, Drew. Which team rushes the ball better? Probably going to win the game.
very good, very good call.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into these locks.
All right, man. Here we go. Here we go.
Last week, I went 1-1. Green Bay hooked me up the last minute, scared me to death. But
Yeah.
then we both picked the Lions to beat the Seahawks. That did not happen.
No, it did not.
You also picked the Bengals to lose to Miami.
I did.
That did
I
not happen.
did. I
So as we
did.
stand, I gained a game on you, but I'm still
Yeah.
2 games back. I'm 2-6, and you're 4-4
Oh
heading
man.
into this week. So I would like to
Yeah.
kick it off with my loser this week.
Right.
In the Battle of the Birds, I got the Cardinals losing to Philly.
Okay. Okay. Cardinals
I know it's one of
losing
those
to
trap games where
Philly.
the Cardinals very well could give Philly their first loss, but I
Yeah.
think Hurts and company do enough to get past them.
All right. So I need to get back off the schneid here and stop playing around. I don't know what, Drew. I said as soon as we finished rapping last week, I was like, "What the fuck? I picked the
Why
Bengals
did
to
I pick
lose.
them? Yeah.
What am I? What did I like?" And I knew they were trending up. I
I
knew they
knew the
was
Lions
trending
were going to
up.
break our heart too, man.
God dang, man. Either way, yeah, I should have known it. Once we both picked it, I should have known it was going to go the opposite
Yeah.
way. But getting off the schneid here, I'm going with loser Atlanta Falcons.
Ooh,
Atlanta
okay.
Falcons going down. Tampa should be very motivated to get this thing done, and they need to get their season back on track. So
Dare I say a get right game?
I they should be very hungry. Let's go put it that way. So
Awesome.
Atlanta's losing to the Bucks next week.
All right. Well, who you got winning next week? We'll snake this thing.
Oh man, you would do the snake on me. You would have put me back on the spot, man. Put me back on the spot. Oh man. Okay. I think that I am going to go with. Oh man,
There's some tough matchups this
there's
week
some
where you're
very
like, I
tough,
could see
man.
this going either
And
way,
I don't like. That's what I'm not picking easy games. Like
especially this season.
super easy games.
Well,
I'm
the
not.
easy games bite you. The easy games come back and
Cam.
snag you where you're like, that team won? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna pick the obvious one. So I'm gonna go here. I'm leaving Detroit, New England alone. I don't know who's going that one.
who knows gonna win that game?
Right. So I'm gonna go Los Angeles Chargers over the Cleveland Browns as my
Okay.
winner. Battle of two and two teams. Uh Los Angeles showed me enough this past week with Herbert still continuing to get the ball to Mike Williams, having those hurt ribs and still throwing for 340, that I have enough
Yeah.
faith that they will be able to get it done against the up and down Browns team. So
Be careful. Remember, this is one of their up weeks. If my 50-50 theory is in tow there, this is when they're supposed to be okay.
yeah. I might just start cut. Like if a team burns me in locks, I might just be done with you for the
But
rest of the season.
what is those where you can only pick what that team one time a year? Like you burnt me,
Survivor.
so yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that number. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I got the Rams beating the Cowboys, ending Cooper Rush's
Oh.
fairy tale run. I think the veteran Stafford sees an opportunity to beat a backup with the NFC foe and gets the job done. Hopefully, Akers can wake up. We can see who's going to be that legitimate wide receiver too,
Yeah.
and the Rams can start building on some things to get to the playoffs going forward.
I got you, man. I got you. We gonna see, man. We gonna see. I don't know
We
though. I
gonna
don't
see.
know. Yeah, yeah. But good locks, man. And I'm looking forward to it, man. It's a lot of good games. I feel like this next slate of games is actually better than what we got the last couple weeks. So
And there's a lot of toss ups this week that I truly don't know who's going to win. So I'm
yeah,
intrigued to watch it. And I ain't got nothing to do on Sunday. I'm going to be watching all of it.
love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
Shawn, where can they find you?
At the Kid Suds on Twitter, at nickel_dime FB on Twitter as well. And of course, at the illustrious nickel_dime football on Insta. Drew, where can they find you in your content, and bro?
Yeah, just hit that subscribe button on the YouTube page. Check out some of the sketches, stand up, whatever you're into. We probably got it on this channel. So, check out all our other content. Hit me up on Instagram at Laugh with Harrison. Love to hear from you. And as always, we'd love to have you on the show. So if you got a team you want to pull for, want to talk about, hit us up. We will accommodate in some way, shape, or form. But more than that, just stay locked in here for the rest of the NFL season. We'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.